right, now, first of all, anytime you're looking to solve these types of problems, what I would do is I'd recommend you first check to see, can you write these as binomial factors, right, using the methods that we already did. So if we took our leading coefficient times our constant, we get a -4. Are there two factors of -4 whose sum is that middle term, -4? What about -2 and -2? No, because that gives you a product of +4. So there are none, right? So what that tells you is if it doesn't fit the pattern for binomial factors, it means you're going to have a square root in your answer. Okay? And so your two methods that you can choose from in solving this problem would be completing the square, which is the method I would recommend, okay, or the next method that we'll talk about, which is quadratic formula. Okay, so let's take a look at, again, if we completed the square on this. Step 1, we move our constant over to the other side. Okay, so notice again, I do leave a space here. Okay, step 2, we need to get our leading coefficient to be a 1. So what do I have to divide every single term in this entire equation by to get my leading coefficient to be a 1? 4. Whatever I do to the first term, I have to do to every single term to balance the equation. Okay, and I'm left with x squared minus x, leave a space, is equal to 1/4. All right, my next step is to complete the square. I'm going to take half of my b value. What is my b value? My b value is -1. I'm going to take half of that and square it. What is -1/2 squared? 1/4. It's always going to be a positive number. So this step right here, the completing the square step, is always plus something. It's never going to be a minus. Okay, and the whole reason I do that is it allows me to rewrite this left side as a binomial square with the first term of x, and my second term is going to be whatever I squared. So that's why I wrote it up here, -1/2. On the right side, if I combine these, I can either combine them as 2/4 or I can reduce it to 1/2. Either way is fine. I'm going to leave it as 2/4 just to, again, kind of show you how this kind of saves a little bit of work here in a second. Okay, my next step is to extract the square root. I get x minus 1/2 is equal to, I need to account for the positive and negative root. Take the square root of the numerator 2 over the square root of the denominator 4, which is 2. So that's where it saved me a little bit of time. If I had reduced 2/4 to 1/2 and I took the square root of that, I'd get 1 over root 2, which I'd then have to rationalize, which is root 2 over 2. So either way, you're going to get to the same final step for that, but if you can anticipate it ahead of time, it might save you a little bit of work. Okay, and then my final step to isolate my x completely, I'm going to move this, or get rid of this -1/2 by adding 1/2, and I'll put that on both sides. Since the denominators are the same, I can combine this into one single fraction, 1 plus or minus root 2 over 2. And so those would be my two solutions for this problem.